Okay, here we go. Hello and good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. This is Effective Living Monday Night Conversation, and I am your host for the evening. I am Billie K. Johnson, and I am excited to have a buddy of mine, a friend of mine, longtime former colleague here on the show tonight. I've got my friend Chris Black. How's it going, sir?
What's up? What's up? Hey, you can't say too long ago because then all this gray hair I
Look,
got in here, they might figure out that age. We can't say that long ago.
no, but it
No, I'm happy
was.
to be
I
here.
mean, I can't help it that I was like 12 when we worked together. So,
That's right. That's right. We was 12. We started working at 12. So all y'all young cats coming in, y'all don't understand. We started early. We didn't wait till we got out of high school or college. We started early.
that's right. That's right. So I'm super excited to have you on the show tonight. Um, we're going to be talking about the phrase work smarter, not harder. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. But before we get started, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, maybe this is your first time to visit us here on YouTube, I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel. There's a lot of great content out here that's on the channel overall, and you might be asking, what is effective living? Who is Ricardo Miller? What is this about? So, Effective Living is based on a book written by our founder and CEO, Ricardo Miller. And it's about creating a life that you don't have to take a vacation from. So, it's about creating your life, structuring your life that it looks like what you want to do. This is about choosing your life. This is about getting to versus have to. It's about choices, and we love choices. We love choices. And so again, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, give this video a like as well, and share it to somebody. There's Chris has got a lot of good information. He's just a smart guy. So I'm
That's
excited.
what they say. Don't blow me up too much now. Don't oversell it, Billy. Don't oversell it.
So, well, you tell people a little bit about yourself, a little bit or a lot,
Yeah,
whatever. Just tell us about
yeah, for
Chris.
sure. Yeah, so for sure. So um I started when I was born in 2010.
Can
And
we go like a
no,
little
no,
bit, little?
a little further back. So no. So originally from Kansas. So I'm from a town called Manhattan. Those that live in the area, we actually call it the Little Apple. It's popular because of the university. Kansas State is there. So I grew up there. I had obviously I had some family, my brothers, and yeah, a lot of African Americans. They always say they got Big Mama, right? Grandma. We had the Big Mama. We had my grandma, uh, and my mom, of course, was a single parent. So we had three boys fighting over food and everything else that we could fight over in the house. And we all ended up doing well. We all ended up going to college. But so I graduated high school. I played college football, And I went to junior college for a couple years, and um, decided like I don't know how I'm going to ever graduate. So I went to a 4 year school called Austin P. Like literally, I'll give someone, except for a couple people that I know the answer. If someone could tell me where Austin P is, I literally will send them a $5 cash app. Okay, because it's like no one knows what's that. So I'm not gonna say. Anyway, so I went there. I played football. I graduated from there. My mom had actually moved to Dallas when I was in college, and I was like, well, there's not a whole lot in Kansas. Dorothy and Toto really don't exist there. So I decided to move to Dallas and started working. And I started off as a recruiter because, look, I tell people all the time, I went to college to play football and I got a degree. It's probably the wrong concept for most people to have, but I was just like, I'm just going to stay in here. My mom used to say, just stay in, they kick you out. So that's what I did. And so I ended up graduating. I moved to Dallas, started working as a recruiter. And along the way of being a recruiter, that's actually how I met Billie. I became a recruiter for a company that her and I worked for, and kind of just progressed my career from there. And I realized that I like the HR portion of things. It's nice because you don't have those demands, right? You just got to get to tell. Like I always tell people, I'm the company 5-0, right? Like I don't have a lot of like quotas, right? We have projects, but I have a lot of quotas. I tell everybody they got to meet their quotas, right? So I like HR, and so my career progressed. I was a HR journalist, an HR business partner. I became a VP of HR at a really large team. Worked for a mortgage company, and then I realized like we're going to get into this a lot, but I think talking about working harder versus working smarter or vice versa, like I realized like if you want a big salary and you want to make a lot of money, you actually don't have to work harder, right? Like, and I know we'll get into that, so I don't want to spoil it. But man, I was like, this job ain't for me. This is a little too much stress for me. And I was like, I got to find something where, I think I worked with a guy once. He says when I was young, he's like, man, you trying to get more work? He said, I'm trying to get less work and more money, man. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And so I think I'm on that path. Is like trying to figure out how I do less and get paid more, right? But what I found is I found a company I work for now that I absolutely love, and I started this consulting company, and I didn't, time you start something because people talk you into it, and you're like, whatever, I'll do it. I'll pay for the LLC. I'll make it official. I'll get a website, right? I'll do all this stuff, and it was my financial advisor. He's pushing me to do. He gets all excited about everything. Of course, it's money, right? So he gets excited. He was like, "Hey, you really got to do this. This will be good for you. There's a market for this." And I'm like, "Man, most of this stuff is just in my head. When you ask me a question about HR, I just generally know because I'm not really. I didn't really start working at 12, but I do have about 24 years of experience doing it. And so I started it. He obviously became my first client, and so it's just kind of like progressed from there. And no, I like HR. It's some people don't see the value in it, so that can be difficult sometimes. So you have to often share the value of HR. But yeah, for the most part, so I got now I'm married. I got 2 kids, 15 and 5. Don't ask. It's a whole nother conversation in itself. Uh, but now I also realize I'm like I might need some more money now. So no, it's definitely about being smarter, and trying to generate revenue for yourself, right? Where you're not breaking your back, right? It's something you like, it's something you enjoy, and it's something that you can do pretty easily. So
Mhm. Speaking of being in HR, this is general information for me.
yeah,
They're talking about, the unemployment rate. Didn't unemployment numbers come out Friday?
yeah, I saw something come out the other day. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it came out on Friday, and I think we're at like 3.5% or something like that.
yeah,
Somewhere around in
yeah,
there. But there's still so many people that are having such a hard time finding work. But at the same time, I'm hearing employers talking about they're having a hard time finding employees.
yeah,
So what's that about? I'm so
yeah.
curious because
So I got it.
yeah, people are they've got to be out of stimulus money.
Hey, that's it. Hey, that government check ran out. Hey, so no, that's a good point. And like, there's always the devil's in the details, right? So when you talk about
Hmm.
numbers and statistics, like it's easy for anyone to blow up a number or make it look a lot bigger than it really is, right? So while there
Hmm.
may be a lot of jobs, those jobs aren't matching the jobs that people actually need, right? So if you're a nurse, right, and there's a job open in McDonald's, those don't match, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, there might be all these jobs, and there's still these people that aren't getting jobs because the jobs that they're looking for aren't the ones that are open. So when you get the statistics and the numbers, it just gives you the overall look, right? So it could be like,
Hmm.
hey, there's 100 nurses looking for work, but there's 100 jobs at McDonald's or working at an auto zone or whatever it may be.
Hmm.
Those jobs don't match the same people that are looking for jobs, right? And I think that's where the discrepancy comes. So again, devil's in the details.
Yeah, but so for me, I've seen it as because I've been on the hiring side, and I saw the money is not right
Oh,
for what they're trying to do. The money isn't right.
100%. Yeah. So um, you know, so a company I work for now, we started we hired a compensation manager, right? So anybody
Hmm.
that wants to hire a compensation manager, people that manage the comp, they want a lot of money. Okay. That's just what it is. Right. So let's just put it out there. But yeah, so people are competing against, you know, I'll use some areas, right? So I'll use some specific areas, right? So I used to work for oil and gas company, and when there's this thing called the Bakken, it was a huge oil rush up in the northwest portion of the country, Montana, Wyoming, whatever. You could go out there, and they were like, you can make $25 an hour working at a McDonald's, right?
Hmm.
So it was booming there, and in Dallas, where we live, right? We're not changing. You're gonna get this $10 or this 12.50 or whatever it is per hour. So
Hmm.
it can be regional too, and that's another thing that doesn't get captured in the numbers, right? It can be a regional thing as to why the numbers may average, right? I call it the Oprah effect, right? Like Oprah makes $2 billion. I make a lot less than that, but we average it out. We make $1 billion together, right? A billion and like
Right.
nine, right? So again, it goes back to the devil being in the details, but yeah, it can be tough, right? When people are looking for jobs and the job they want is not available, right? And
Hmm.
you had the great resignation and people were like,
Hmm.
am I working from home? Oh no, I'm good. I don't want that job. I'm gonna go find a job I can work from home, right?
Right.
You
Right.
lost the companies are losing people because they want to work from home, right? And
Hmm.
people have learned you can be more just as effective at home as you can being in an office, right? And I've
Yes.
heard people say, I'm gonna close my office and save the rent. Y'all all stay at the house, right? So
Yes.
yeah, so it's a good way to be. But yeah, no, it's again, I go back to devils in the details around what those numbers say. They're not
Hmm.
bad numbers; they are good, but there's still some. There's going to be a portion of the population that is still affected adversely.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for sharing that for me, for my own personal edification.
Hey,
So,
absolutely.
so tonight, like I mentioned earlier, we're talking about working smarter, not harder, and it's based on Coach Ricardo's blog this week. Every Monday, he puts out a blog at ricardomiller.com. The website's at the bottom of the screen there. And the title of the blog is actually Working Hard Doesn't Guarantee Success. And Chris has touched on that a little bit, but before we get into, how working hard does not guarantee success, what does working smarter, not harder mean to you, Chris?
Yeah, so it's funny. So for the record, what you see on my back wall here, I didn't do this for the show. This has actually always been on my wall. Okay, so there's a bunch of other words on here as well. That just happens to be one of them. And yes, it's spelled with an E because we use the E for extra in my house. So hard work isn't just hard work. So you not that hard work doesn't help, but you have to be smart about how you work, right? And I think I've actually learned that in my career because you think like I got to get to the office at 7. I got to be the first one. I got to be the last one to leave. And I coached football for a little while. And there's kind of some in any culture, any organization, or whatever you're part of. There's some things that just people just do, right? Because that's what they do in the culture. So I can tell you in coaching, right? When I did it when I was 12, right? When I did it, it was you're there before the head coach, and then no one leaves till after the head coach leaves, right? And then you finally think to yourself, it's like, what am I doing here? I'm not doing anything. I'm just here, right? And then so that sounds like hard work, but is it really effective? So I won't go into too much detail about this, but there's a great book. I actually became an avid reader when my daughter was in the 3rd grade. There's a great book called The Talent Code. The Talent Code talks about the level at which to, because both my kids are sports. My older daughter is a varsity tennis player. So I used to read all these books to try to figure it out. There are no answers, by the way. There are no exact answers.
She's not going to be the next Venus or Serena?
Well, we try, but it's kind of in her court now. So, but she's really good. She started varsity. She's the number 1 player in varsity as a freshman.
Very cool.
So she's really good. My 5-year-old, I want her to play golf. There's less stress, I think, than tennis. So, but going back to what I was saying is, it's all about the culture you're in, right? And so that's why people love Google. That's why people love to work for Facebook, because they don't waste time. Sometimes you're just working hard and you're not really going anywhere, right? I always tell people it's like riding a stationary bike, right? Like you can ride that thing as hard as you want to go. You ain't going nowhere. You're in the same spot. And I think that's what, so to me, when I think about working smarter and what it means to me is, the first thing I do when someone asks me to do something is I say to myself, what's the quickest and easiest, most efficient way to do it? I don't just jump in, right? Like people who are just like dedicated to hard work, they jump in, they figure it out along the way. And sometimes you have to think on it for a little while and figure out what is the best way to do it. And so in the Talent Code, the book I reference, it talks about the threshold to get better. It basically said if your child or anyone is practicing anything and they're accomplishing it 70% of the time, like if you're doing a test or a skill or whatever, and you're accomplishing it 70% of the time, that's too easy. But I'm sorry, let me back up. If they're not accomplishing it 70% of the time or more, it's too hard. If they're accomplishing it 90% of the time or more, it's too easy. So you have to be in that little window of growth, is what they call it. So it's got to be effective practice, I think is the phrase that they use. And so that's how I kind of think of what I do on a daily basis is smarter. Like, how do I do it smarter? I'm not going to just work, because you're right. Like sometimes that doesn't work. A lot of times, actually, you'll realize that you can just work smarter and it works out for you, as opposed to just jumping in and grinding. Like I'm the dude that when I get something, I open the directions on how to put it together. I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna go through. There's step 1. Okay, we got step 1, step 2. Like I know some people, right? They just tear open the box. They start trying to figure it out, put it together, right? They get it together, but it was stressful, right? It was stressful and ambiguous, right? Like I'm going through the steps, right? So there's a methodology to being to working smarter.
Hey, true story, true recent story.
Uh-oh.
I had a new desk. I got a new desk, and I asked Jeremiah, my son, for those that don't know, Jeremiah is my son, my 21-and-a-half-year-old son. I said, Jeremiah, I need you to come over and build this desk for me. And Jeremiah was like, all right. So he gets here, he tears the box open, and he looks at everything and, has like the thing of screws and nuts and bolts and everything. And he just starts going to town. He looked at the picture, had everything. The screws and stuff were laid out in alphabetical order. When he finished, he said, here you go. Whatever G was never got open.
Them was extras. He didn't need those. Those was extras. That's what those were, Mom.
Never opened it.
That's so funny to me, man.
When he finished, I said, "Hey man, you got this whole thing of screws." And he looked at the desk. He said, "You be all right."
He said, "You be all right. You got it. You be all right. It's gonna work. It'll sit up. You be all right." Yeah, yeah. And you,
So
but people are like that, and it's probably functional, right? It might you might be waiting for it to fall down one day, but for the most part, it's functional, right?
yeah, I was like, I don't because there were other letters after it wasn't like it was the last pack of screws.
It was early. He was that should have came early in the game, right? Like he
Whatever that was
That's
didn't
hilarious.
happen.
Oh
So
my man, Jeremiah. Again, we talked about this before the show. I just remember Jeremiah as like I think he might have been 1 or 2 years old, and that dude, man, he loved his mama. But I just remember like he had eczema, and it was like so when my daughters had both of my daughters have it or have had it, and it's like that's the first thing I think of because I didn't even know what it was until I had known you and Jeremiah. So I don't know, man. Now I see him, it's like I'm sure he's taller than me because I'm 5 foot nothing. But yeah, like that's what I think about him, man. He used to come to the office, man. I'd be like, boy,
yeah. Yeah. So there are people that do that. And for me, I was very tempted to have him take the whole desk apart and redo it. Because yeah, he did not do that.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a very recent true story.
Yeah, what is it they say? It's you measure twice, you cut once, right? I
Yes.
think that's what working smarter is, right? So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I think I just got to the point in my career where I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not gonna have me running all over the place. Let me sit down and think. And again, I've probably read more books in the last 5 years than I read my entire educational life, right? Like,
Mhm.
um, and so I'm a big advocate of Navy SEAL books. And I'm like, what better place to learn about leadership from them? And one of the things that they do is when they plan a mission, they don't actually plan the mission for the way it should go, or they don't practice for the way that it actually should go. They actually practice for all the ways it will go wrong.
Mm.
And so, yeah, so I was like, man, that's pretty dope, right?
Mhm.
So then, and when they do plan the mission, of course, they plan it from the end to the beginning, right? It's kind of like I think I made a joke with somebody. It's like the criminal who figures out how to get in the house and steal something, but they forgot to plan how to get out.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I like that process, and I think I've taken that process, and that's what I do. Like there's more thinking and strategic thinking involved and critical thinking involved, which some people just don't want to do. But what you realize is it saves you so much time, and you're not
Mhm.
stressed out about a project or assignment or whatever it is you may be doing. So
Mhm. Yes. So in the comments, Karen has asked if the desk is still standing. As of today, it is still standing, and it's actually one of those stand-up desks. And so, like every time I
oh,
mash the button for it to go up and down, I get a little nervous. But yes, it's
that can be dangerous. That can be dangerous. Jeremiah gonna get the bill for this one now, you know.
yes, yes. So tell us again what it is that you said that you do when you're given a project.
Yeah.
What do you tell yourself?
Yeah, so the thing I say is it's kind of funny because it sounds lazy when you say it out loud, but it's like there's got to be an easier way. What's the easiest way to get this done, and what's the smartest way to get it done? But it starts with what's the easiest, simplest way. One is somebody's probably already done it, so let me check that first. Has somebody already done this? Because if they've done it, I'm not doing it again. I'll just take what they have and I'll recreate the wheel, or I don't have to recreate the wheel. And so like that is always my question. I'll tell you, even at work last week, somebody asked about doing some quarterly meetings for executives, and maybe we should do it quarterly, and this is what we should put in it. And I was like, well, we're putting a lot of information in here. Maybe we should only do it biannually. Maybe we should do it just twice a year instead of 4 times a year, right? It's like, what's the purpose of doing it 4 times, right? Like you can do it twice and have the same effect. They don't want to see us all the time anyway.
Mhm.
So just always thinking about ways to do something easier. And then like there's so much technology now, right? So that's
Mhm.
a great tool. I am so look, I am not sponsoring Google, so they may get props out of this, but I am the king of Google. Like
Me too.
I don't go a day. I bet I don't go a couple hours without
Me
using
too.
Google. And so you can find so much information, and it's funny because you can type in the dumbest stuff and you'll
Mhm.
get an answer. Like you could type in, I don't know. I think I typed in. They were asking. Somebody was asking how to create an offer letter in Canada. So I
Mhm.
just typed in, how do you create an offer letter in Canada? You get a billion things, right? And you go through and
Mhm.
you search them, right? And so I love Google. I think it is a phenomenal tool to find so much information. My daughters hate it when I say it because they know when they ask me a question, I'm like, Google it.
Right, right,
So
right. And the thing is that Google is free.
free, free, free. Like this is you better get in there. Yeah, and I'm one of those people like I'm very inquisitive. I want to learn. I want to know. I wish I was like this when I was in college and high school, but I've become more of a student of everything, and so like I always want to know the answers to stuff. So I'm constantly
Mhm.
on there looking up the answers to things, right? And so
Mhm.
it's a great tool for that. I very rarely don't find the answer. So
Right.
yeah, so I love that tool for that. But it's a great way to solve day-to-day problems, right? Like I I guarantee you, Jeremiah could have YouTube the name of the desk and whatever, and they probably would have walked him through it. You know what I'm saying? So, but hey, I'm not gonna knock my man's skills or nothing, but I'm just saying there's just an infinite amount of information out there, and you can get it from everywhere. YouTube,
Mhm.
Reddit, Google, like it's just everywhere. And so people, you got to utilize that stuff, right? Like you think that you only have to work in these certain boundaries, but you don't. You can step out of those and look at all kinds of things. So
Mhm. Yes. Now, when we think about working smarter and not harder, do you think that the two of those are mutually exclusive?
no, I think that you can. There, look, there are some times where it is going to take some hard work. I think so. The more tools you have in your tool belt, the better you are, right? So if you can work
Mhm.
smart and hard, right, that's even better. But I think no, I don't think they're exclusive. I think that you can use them both. But I think when you learn how to work smarter, and you get old and you don't want to work hard, you,
Mhm.
it's an easier process for you to formulate or put together. So it's like I don't want to. Like I'll tell you right now, I'll get something. I'll be like, oh, I don't want to work this hard. I don't want to do this. Well, I gotta find some. I gotta find a better way. So okay, I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna give you a lazy example right now. Okay, so we just bought a hot tub. Okay,
Mhm.
um, and so I'm sitting in the hot tub, have my little drink, but I ain't got nowhere to put it. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. I got. I can't just have I can't hold my drink here all day if I'm gonna be sitting here. I gotta find somewhere to put my drink. So what I do, I get on
Mhm.
Google and I YouTube. I think I put in hot tub platforms or hot tub whatever, and I found a list of like little uh, uh, platforms that you can sit on your hot tub and you can put it on
Mhm.
there, right? So I'm like, just constantly think, and it's some people would call it lazy, but some of it is just like it's convenience, right? And like
Yeah.
um, being smarter about the sense of holding the glass, right, forever. But
Mhm.
my team often emails me a lot of questions. It's funny that I don't know what they think I have the answers. I don't know. I think they give me too much credit, but they'll always ask me, "Hey, do you have something like this, or do you have something like this?" Because I save everything. So when I
Mhm.
find it, I save it. So then when someone else asks me, I'm like, "Yeah, I got this. Here you go." So my boss asked me for something today, and I sent it to her. Right, like, here's what I got. You can use it if you want. So
Mhm.
just constantly thinking about A to B, right? I don't want to go A to
Mhm.
B to C to D to E. Like A to B, I want a straight line. What's the easiest way to do it? And so often we just jump in and dive into something instead of just stepping back and thinking about it. But I think you can do both. I think sometimes it will require some hard work, right? Being
Mhm.
actually being smarter requires hard work. It's just more in your head than it is that physical aspect.
Mhm.
But I think I guess if I walk the line right, do I think they're exclusive of one another? I think they can be, but I also think you can do both. I think that
Mhm.
can you can still be you can have a greater, smarter way of doing something, but it still might require some hard work, right? Like
Right.
some brain power and some exertion of some sort.
Hmm.
But I think that if you sit down like the Navy SEALs do and try to figure out all the aspects of it, you're going to find an easier way to do things. So,
Hmm.
and it'll require less, not as much hard work. So,
I found a quote from Jeff Bezos.
oh,
Bezos.
yeah,
Okay.
you say the billionaire. We know who you're talking about.
Yeah. So Jeff says that when he interviews people, he tells them that they can work long, hard, or smart, but at Amazon, you can't do two out of the three.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's a great quote. Uh,
Hmm.
long, hard, or smart, but you can't do all three.
Hmm.
Um,
He said you can't choose two out of three.
you can't choose two out of three.
Hmm.
So I'm old, so I'm definitely not choosing hard. Um, and I'm definitely not choosing long because I think
I
you
don't want to choose.
almost you almost correlate those together, right? Like
Right, right.
I go back to the coaching example, right? Like coach gets in at 7, you better be there at 6:30. If he leaves at 7 p.m., you better be there at 7:15, right? Like,
Hmm.
but is it productive? That's what
Hmm.
it comes down to. Is it productive? And that's that going back to the book, there's that threshold of is it actually productive? And if it's not productive, then why are you doing it? And I think in society, especially in America, right? Like we are so driven by, oh, they work long hours and they're here all the time. Like I used to tell people who work for me, I don't care how long you work. If you get it done, that's all that matters to me. Like you can get it done riding a roller coaster, and I'm good. Like
Hmm.
or you can be in the office all night. I don't think that's the best way to do it.
Hmm.
Um, so I think you have to have a balance in life, right? Like this can't be while is your job. It can't be the only thing that you're completely focused on. You got to be able to shut that off, and you got to have a balance in life. And I've learned that in the billions of exit interviews I've done with people and why people leave companies. And, I can assure you, most people. So this is always a surprise to people. Um, People don't leave companies typically because of only money. It's actually like not even the top three, I would say. It could be a package deal, meaning they didn't like their boss or they didn't like their work hours and they got more money, right? But it's
Hmm.
usually not a standalone. Money is not the standalone, right? It's work life balance, it's opportunities, and those things are kind of what's important to most people. Most people are usually surprised by that. It's not just money. Um, so yeah. And then I guess if you're Jeff Bezos, you just hire the people that want to work smart. He's also probably got 100,000 applications a day to choose from. So
Correct. Right. 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 Yeah. And and I'm the same. I was the same way when I was managing people. I don't. Here's what needs to get done. Get it done, and don't have. I don't want to have to get involved.
yeah, that's 100%. Like I say, let me if there's a roadblock, let me know. I'll move
Right.
out of your way so you can continue on your journey. I tell people that work for me, it's like my job is to get you your next job. That's what my
Hmm.
job is. And I hope that it's here with me, that working with me. But if it's not, that's okay because people have to grow in their career, and it's not fair to expect someone to just stay here if they're not getting
Absolutely.
what they need. Right? It's
Absolutely.
the same as any other relationship, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And so yeah, so I always say, here's the project, or here's what I need you to do, and just let me know if you have problems, and I'll move those roadblocks out of the way for you so that you
Mhm.
can do what you need to do. And I'm hands off. I think you just try to be hands off for the most part. And let people do what you hired them to do. If they
Mhm.
can't do it, you hired the wrong person.
Correct.
Right?
Because if I have to do your job, like when people come to me and they tell me what they can't do, it's easy to identify what you can't do. Tell me what you
Yeah,
can do. What?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they might want to catch that Google too, real quick. So, um, but but yeah, like no, that is true. People very quickly tell you what they can't do, right?
Hmm.
And um, I'm fortunate to work at a place that I absolutely love, and I, you have a feeling about your boss or your leader where it's like, man, I don't want to let them down, so I'll do whatever, and I'll help her, and I'll do this, and I think that's what are missing, right? I think we're
Hmm.
missing that in a lot of companies. A lot of people don't have that experience. Most people have that 9 to 5 grind where they're like, oh, I got to go to work and this and that. And it creates, I don't know, it's just a culture that people are just used to. And it's just what they've always done. And we got to get away from that. Kind of like working harder, right?
Hmm.
Like 9 to 5, let's grind it out, right? But
Hmm.
to be honest, I know there are numbers on this. To be honest, how many hours do people really work in a day, right? Like, because if you're in the office, you're gonna talk to Joe for a little bit. You're gonna talk to Mary in the cafeteria. You gonna you gonna search the internet on your phone. You're gonna be on Facebook for a minute. Like, how
Yeah.
many hours are you really working, right?
Right.
And the old adage of FaceTime, and then not for all the youngsters. I'm not talking about talking about my phone. I'm talking about FaceTime in an office where people see you and they know you're there. That's
Hmm.
just played out, and it's not a good philosophy, right? To oh, I need to see you in the office. I'm like, well, what? I can hit you with a Zoom call. Like it's
Correct.
yeah. So yeah, and again, it goes back to culture. It goes
Yes.
back to culture a lot.
Yes, and I'm one of those. So part of my strategy for working smarter is I like to build relationship with people.
Oh,
And that's part of me being resourceful is I'm going to build a relationship with you, and then when I don't know what to do or if I need help, I'm going to go pull our relationship card. We're friends
100%.
now.
100%. 100%. 100%. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Not,
being in the office, yeah, I
yeah.
have a lot of FaceTime with a lot of people.
Yeah. So it's funny because like I would say out of all the old historical philosophies about work and what we do, like
Mhm,
to me, that one will stand the test of time. Like
mhm,
building a relationship with people, right?
mhm,
Like I know at my job, I have great relationships with most people. I can get them to do almost anything I would ask them to do. And it's because I've taken the time to build a relationship with them, right?
mhm.
So we did this study. So, well, not a study, but we did this thing. So I worked for. I don't know if I'm allowed to say company names or not. I probably could say this, and then everyone would figure it out. So I used to work with a company, and it was a restaurant, and they wore orange shorts and very tight white tops, right?
Mhm.
And so we did this thing around. Billy's like, everybody knows what that is. So we asked the waitresses across the entire world, not just in the United States. We went to like China, we went to Sri Lanka, everywhere. We went everywhere. Asked all over the world why their manager was the best, because these managers essentially got voted as the best. And the same resounding response was, they care about me more than just my job. They care about me as a person, and they want me to succeed. Those are the three things that like 50 of the top managers for this restaurant in the world all said. But the number one was they care about me more as a person and not just someone that works for them. Right.
Mhm.
So, it's funny. So my strategy for that is when I'm in a meeting, so I write everything thing down because I forget. I'm old, right? So I forget. So we'll be in a meeting and I'll draw, like we're in a meeting and I don't know everyone, I'll draw the table. And as everyone talks, I write their name around the table, right?
Mhm.
And it just helps me to visually see the name and visually see that person because I know that. And then like somebody will tell me, I have a kid that plays baseball, or I have a kid that I write down. Like, oh, that's a good talking point, right? Because people
Mhm.
talk; those things are important to them, right?
Mhm.
Like I have someone I work with. It son is a baseball player. Well, Little League World Series started today, so we talked about that for a little while. So the relationship thing is to me again, I think will stand the test of time. Like if you
Mhm.
can build relationships with people, um, that is the key to a lot of success in your life. So
Mhm. Yeah, and speaking of relationships, part of what we teach here on this platform is about building community. And this effective living platform, we are a community. So I'm getting ready to do a commercial here. And part of what we have going on, we have an event coming up on Saturday, September the 3rd. It is the Effective Living 5K Run Walk. And I'm going to show a video
Ooh,
and then we'll be right back. So the Effective Living 5K Run Walk, Saturday, September the 3rd. It's at 7:30 a.m. and it'll be at Great Trinity Forest Gateway Park in Dallas, 2161 Dowdy Ferry Road. You can learn more and register at ricardomiller.com and then click up top on the events tab. We would love to have you. When you saw those pictures, we've had a handful of 5Ks. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. So, Chris, you've got an college uh, athletic background. And I remember when we worked together, we used to talk about my fitness, and I will never forget because it was so long ago that we worked together, long time ago. But I will never forget, you used to tell me that I was never going to get anywhere because I was inconsistent.
Wait. Somebody else told me that. I'm just sharing that with you. But dang, you put me on blast.
I will remember where I was standing in the office.
Are you serious? Wow. Man, I left an impact. It was good or bad.
But as I've gone on, what I've realized is that consistency absolutely can be a strategy for working smarter, right? Because like I recently read the book Atomic Habits.
It's a great book.
That's a really good book, and talk about talking about doing things automatically and all of that. So that consistency that creates that consistency. So let's talk a little bit about how we can develop ways to work smarter.
Yeah. So I am going to say in the book Atomic Habits, it's actually phenomenal because there's a section there about algorithms and how they know how people react and respond, and that's how they market. I think it even talks about the girl at Target, all right, in Minnesota or something, where her dad didn't know that she was pregnant, but she had bought some things at Target that they had taken care, that they had seen, and so they started sending her flyers for this or whatever. And but anyway, so it's a whole other story. So that's how he found out his daughter was pregnant, because they were using algorithms and data to send her what they thought she needed. So being consistent is man, it is the key to everything. But the funny thing is, once you start doing it, it's like anything else, it becomes easier. So here's what I tell people all the time. You have to make a look. Now I feel bad because I don't really he wasn't consistent. So so I'll use my wife, right? She is I'll tell you this, Billie, she looks the same she looked when we worked together. She don't look no different. Okay. I look like I'm married to a 12-year-old. Okay. So every morning, 4:30, her alarm goes off. She is a big advocate for Camp Gladiator. That's her thing. That's what she loves to do with the people that are outside.
Yeah. What?
Oh my God. Now you got her in the background hollering. So she's actually one of the most consistent people I know when it comes to it's like eating food for her, right? Like no one goes a full day without eating, right? Because you need to eat. And what happens is it becomes so ingrained in your routine in your life that it becomes, we hear this all the time, it becomes a lifestyle. It's not just something that, I need to get these 10, 12, 15 pounds off. It's this is what I do. So I make a habit of telling my kids sometimes, like, we don't do that. That's not what we do. Our last name's Black. We don't do that, right? This is what we do. And so, but yeah, 4:30 in the morning, alarm goes off. I hear it. I roll back over. I will tell the truth. I'll be honest about that. And she's up and she's out the door by 5 o'clock. And she works out every single day without fail, unless she's dying, for God's sake. So consistency, and I'm not even gonna try to guess how many years we've been married, but I can tell you that she has always been a person that works out like that, and is always, it's a lifestyle. How she eats, how she exercises, it's just her life. Like it's not a question of, do I get the ice cream or do I get the salad? She's like, oh, I'm eating salad, right? It's not even a question, and that goes back to what I said earlier. It's a culture, and it's also who you surround yourself with, right?
Mhm.
Like it's important that you be around people that are are trying to do what you do. So I'm not a big workout fan, but I see this every day, so I'm like, well, I can't be outdone, so I got to do something. And so I bought this thing called the Oculus. Have you heard of this thing, the MetaQuest?
I've heard of it.
The thing's phenomenal. It's changed my life.
It's got like it's like a
Yeah,
goggly thing or
yeah,
something.
virtual reality. And so I now use that. I use that to work out. They have
Mhm.
workouts on there. They're awesome. And so I am terrible at being consistent. I'll do it for 3 weeks. I know my pattern, right? So now you can tell me I'm inconsistent. So 3 weeks, I'm solid, like clockwork. Then after that, I'm like, I did this for 3 weeks. I take a week off. 1 week off turns into a month, right? And it's like it's not fun for me, and it's like I didn't like it, and I had to find something that I liked, and I love this because I like video games, right? So
Mhm.
it's like playing a video game. So my brothers always send me messages because they get my little thing on the watch that says I finished a video game workout. So they're like, man, what is that? And so yeah, so it's about being consistent and finding what you like, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be what everyone else does. This comes with the critical thinking piece. It's don't try to do what everyone else does. Do what you like to do. Do what makes you happy. And then it's
Mhm.
easier to do. I don't want to wake up at 5 o'clock. I'm not doing it. So I got the VR and I work out on the VR, right?
Mhm.
That's easier for me. And that's something that I know that I can do. And so I think when it comes to all this, like you have to find something that you can be consistent with, right?
Mhm.
And you'll realize over time it just becomes part of you. It becomes part of you. I think that what's the theory they say, 21 days, it becomes a habit or something like that once you do it for a certain period of time. But I think we can go talk about it all day. It's consistency. I heard a great quote by Denzel Washington because I love getting on Facebook, wasting my time, probably when I'm supposed to be working.
TikTok is my new thing.
Is it? Yeah. So, and he talked about my brothers always send me this thing that says it used to say the the results are free, but the hustle's not, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, and I think Denzel Washington had a similar quote to that, and he talked about consistency. Like that was his thing. Like you have to consistently do it, but you have to find something that you have to figure out. You have to be self-aware. So you have
Mhm.
to say, like me, 3 weeks, I'm out. If I don't like it, I'm out. Right. And I
Mhm.
just put it on pause, but I really just stopped. And now I think I found something. So the last 2 months, 3 months, I've been doing. And so
Cool.
you have to find something that works for you because everything doesn't work for you. I tell people all the time, there's a reason there's a billion books on how to raise kids because no one has the answer, Billy. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Okay. No one has the answer. That's why there's a billion books on it. So there's no universal answer for it. And I think this is the same way, right? You got to find what works for you. It
Mhm.
sounds simple and but it does take some work, right? Some brain power to figure out and be self aware of like,
Mhm.
I really don't like that, or that's not something I can consistently do forever, right?
Mhm.
And talking about working smarter, getting back to that, for me, it's like my mindset is I don't want to work like that. That's literally what I say to myself. Oh, I'm not working like that. Like I tell people that I'm not working like that. So I will take my time and figure out the best way to do something. And
Mhm.
whether it's working out, whether it's a project I'm doing at work, whether it's communicating to my kid or communicating to someone at work, I'm going to try to figure out the best way to do it.
Mhm.
And again, you have to be. It has to be something that you like, right? And it
Mhm.
has to be consistent. If you can do it consistently, you probably like it. No one's doing anything they don't like consistently, right?
Mhm.
Unless you're getting paid for a job that you hate. Typically
Mhm.
doing something that very consistently because you have a passion for it and you like it, right?
Mhm.
I wake up and I work out. It's like playing a video game for 30 minutes.
Mhm.
Done.
So, and I have to share over the years since our time that we worked together, I have completed 5 half marathons.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
No, 5 half marathons. But here's the thing: you ain't catching me running anymore.
No, no, player.
You ain't catch me running anymore. I'm a great walker. At this point, I'm a great walker. And that's I'm gonna have to tell Coach Ricardo to have a conversation about it. But what I found based on the Atomic Habits book is
Yeah.
that you set these goals for yourself, and you're so focused on the goal, and then after you've reached the goal, you don't want to do it
Yeah.
anymore. And that's what happened to me with running.
Yeah.
I did it and I was like, all right, because it's 16 weeks to train effectively.
Yeah.
And at the end of
Wow.
across the finish line, got my
Yeah.
medal because that was the closest I was getting to the
But
Olympics.
kiss y'all later. See y'all later. I have a lot of friends who are coaches. So I have one of my really good friends. He's the quarterback coach for the Chargers. Actually, 3 years ago, we got to go to the Super Bowl because he was the coach for the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
And I have another friend who's a basketball coach at University of Kentucky, and
Mm-hmm.
we talk maybe every couple weeks or whatever, and we talk about, because I'm always asking them questions because it's so funny. Like, people think that sport. This is why I love sports, because it correlates to work so well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talk about success and how's it work, and they all say you got to fall in love with the grind, right? You got to fall in love with the process and not just the end result. Because if it's just
Mm-hmm.
the end result, then you're not going to want to go to the next level. And so I wish I had the quote. I would actually share it with you and I would give it to you. There was a basketball coach named Carol Lawson. She played she played for the Olympic team, won a gold medal. And she talked about how we're always waiting for things to get easier. She says, we always wait for things to get easier. And she
Mm-hmm.
says, and it never happens, right? She's the head basketball coach at Duke. She says it never happens. What happens is you get better at dealing with hard.
Mm-hmm.
She said, what happens when it gets hard as a coach? We make it harder.
Mm-hmm.
Have to get comfortable with hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't wait for things to get easy, because they don't. You think you get married, it gets easier. It doesn't. You think you have kids, it gets easier. It doesn't. You think your kids get to high school and they'll get easier. It doesn't. You think you're out of diapers, it doesn't. It doesn't get easier. You get better at managing hard. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it was awesome the way she talked about it, and it's so true, and not just sports, but just in life in general, right? So
Mm-hmm.
everyone's always waiting for it to get easy.
Yeah, and you mentioned, as we're getting ready to wrap up earlier at the top of the show, you talked about how people want the bigger check and but they want less work or less responsibility.
Yeah,
And what I quickly discovered in my 20s was that, yeah, the higher you climb the ladder, the more money you get, but the less work you have to do than those that are at the bottom of the totem pole.
yeah,
And so that is about working smarter, right?
yeah. It is. It's about, typically, right. So I say the higher you get in your career, the more strategic you become, right? You become the person who's has the idea that explains what people need to do as opposed to the person doing it, right? And I think that's what's important to understand. So, because people think, I'll just keep rising in my career, I'll do less work. You do, but you use more of your brain more, right?
Right.
It's where
Right.
your education really kicks in, and your critical thinking really kicks in, and your history and your knowledge of whatever profession is kicks in. And now you are an expert on whatever it is you're doing, but now you're just not doing the hands-on work. Now you're taking your knowledge and you're getting other people to do that work. And
Mhm.
it's a hard thing to do, but I'll do it all day if they pay me for it. I'm game. I'll do it. So,
It's a hard thing to do, but it's smart.
oh, 100% smart. 100%. So again, this is why my financial guy was like, you got to do this. Now he gets so hyped up. I'm like, man, calm down. Like, calm down. He gets all hyped up. You got to do this. You got to do this. And I'm like, okay, okay, okay. And he started calling me. Did you get the LLC? Did you do this? I'm like, yes, I got it. And so he understands that it's knowledge that I have that I can get paid using, right?
Mhm.
And so that's kind of how I look at it. So, but yeah, so I guess it's being smarter, and I don't want to work till I'm 60 years old or 70 years old if I can
Right.
help it, right?
Right.
And and it's something that I know how to do, right? Smartly.
Right.
That's a real word. So,
Right. It's kind of like the compound interest, right? You put your money in a particular vehicle, you want the compounding interest and not just the simple interest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things in the blog that I think Ricardo said that was, I love it. And I obviously need to read this book. I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
I will. It will be on my list. I've got like 5 books I'm reading right now. So he talked about you have to constantly be editing your life, I think is what he said. And
unlearn. He talks frequently about unlearning what you should have never learned.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he said, I can't remember where he said edit. I was looking it up, but it was such a cool like analogy. Like, because think about it, when a writer writes a book, someone's got to look at it and tell them that's not right, that's wrong. And so that takes a lot of self-awareness, which is really hard for people. It's really hard for people to say, I'm not good at that, or I don't do that very well. Because you want to be like, I'm good at that. I don't know what you're talking about, right? But you just got to be self-aware. Like, I'm not getting up at 4:30. That's just,
right.
I know me, right? I just know myself, so I have to work around it, right, and find a different way for it. So, but constantly, he's right, unlearning things, and not in the sense of unlearning like you don't ever know it, but unlearning in the sense that there's a better way to do it, right? Like, just because you do it this way doesn't mean it'll work this way. And the best companies in the world understand that, you know what? We made $3 billion a year doing this, but I bet there's a better way that we can even do it, right? So we'll stay on the Jeff Bezos train, right? Like, they started off very small. Now, I can tell you right now, if Amazon ain't got it, I ain't going to get it, okay? And so now what do? Oh, we'll deliver to you overnight. Oh, you know what? You want that? We'll have it to you today. And it's like they keep trying to find better ways to do things. And I always use Apple and I always use Amazon and Google because they're really good companies that like they understand people and they're non-traditional when it comes to working in a culture that we probably grew up in. It's very demanding and you have to be here for 12, 13 hours a day, then you'll get your promotion. But I know we're running out of time. The last thing I'll say is this. So what you do has to feel right for you. Because when it feels right and it feels good, it's easier to do. And so everyone has an Apple phone, right? Well, not everyone. And I tell
because I'm a droid.
You're living a lie, Billie. You're living a lie. If you don't have an Apple phone, what are you doing in your life? Okay?
I'm a droid. I am not part of the cult.
So there was this awesome commercial when Apple first started, and I wish it's hard to find now that the older it gets. But they talk about how when they designed the iPhone, they don't worry about does it do this, does it answer calls, does it do this, does it do all these certain things. Their whole premise is how does it make you feel? When you swipe your phone, when you open a message, when you type on it, how do you feel? That's what they ask consumers when they're testing a product. They ask them how it makes them feel, right? So when you're going to think about working smarter and not harder, which I'll do this. I can talk about this all day. But if you want to work smarter, find a process that makes you feel, because you don't want to feel like you're not working, right? Like you're not. No one wants to feel that way, but you have to find something that makes you feel good, whether it's working out on the VR, waking up at 4:30 in the morning, or whatever it may be. You have to find what makes you feel good about whatever it is you're doing, and I love that about Apple. I think so. So Billie, I'll send you the Apple phone after the call.
No, I'm not part of the cult. I'm not.
You're not part of the cult. Yeah. I tell everybody you live in a lie. I was like, you have my wife's dad. Look, everybody got an iPhone. I got one. She got one. My daughter got one. Her mom got one. He got a Droid. Hey man, when are you gonna stop this mess? This is ridiculous. I can't even send you the same picture I'm sending everybody. I need you to get on the train, man.
Yeah, no. And interestingly enough, I've always had Samsung. Once Jeremiah got out on his own, started paying his own bills, he went and got an Apple. So he joined the cult. So
Jeremiah, my man, I knew somebody over there was going. Somebody over there was on the right track. I tell
Yeah.
you what, man.
Yes.
I love
Yes.
it.
So you mentioned Coach Ricardo's book. This
I'm
is
totally
his
getting it.
book.
Yes.
Yeah, Effective Living, Your Guide to Creating a Life You Don't Need to Take a Vacation From. If you would like to get a copy, you can visit ricardomiller.com. He will sign the book and get it out to you the next day. You can also visit the website and learn about the various coaching programs. But I really want people to visit the website and register for the 5K. And when you think about coming out and joining us for Labor Day weekend, don't just bring yourself, bring some people with you. We're about, like I said before, we're about community. There are 5 areas that Coach Ricardo really focuses on when we talk about effective living, and it's faith, family, finances, fitness, and fun. So at our 5K events, there is fitness, there is fun, and there is family. Everybody comes together. We're a group. We're gonna love on you. We're gonna have a great time. If all you can do is walk, that's perfectly fine. If you choose to run, that's you can do that too. It's not about competition, it's about completion. It's about completion, not competition. So
Now I can do that. But I'll,
yeah.
I'll send my wife out there. Y'all be good. Y'all don't need me out there. No, I'm kidding. I tell you what, y'all got some good music in that commercial, boy. I was jamming.
We do what we can, man. We do what we can. So and again, the conversation tonight was about working smarter, not harder, based on Coach Ricardo's blog this week called Working Hard Does Not Guarantee Success. Working Hard Does Not Guarantee Success. You visit the blog on the website to read more. Chris, tell people about HR Blueprint Consulting.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I started this just to help. I can help with any business, and I thought to myself, look, I've been doing this for 24 years, and there's a lot of knowledge in my head that I'm happy to share. And so we got a website. It's HR Blueprint Consulting.com. I'm on Instagram. I try to be on Instagram. Well, it's hard keeping up with these. I try to pay my daughter $1 every time she posts something, but she won't even do it. You know what I'm
You
saying?
are
That's
part
not
of the problem with these job numbers, paying $1, man.
per post. Come on, Billie. That's
Uh-uh. You need to up that. You're part of the
no,
problem with the low wages.
she's 1099 now. She got a roof and she got some food here. So, but no. So you can see, catch me on the website. I'm HR underscore blueprint underscore consulting on Instagram. HR Blueprint on Facebook. So I do my best to keep up with these things. Everyone's like, you gotta. So here's your word. You got. So I used to ask people, hey, how do you get so many people following you on Instagram? You got to be consistent. Just post something every day, right? And so that's smarter, right? Not harder, right? Like some
And you
people
can take
post
it a
those
step
elaborate things, and it's like just post something simple every day.
right. But you can take it a step further and have your post automatically post. Like you can
Yeah.
bank up your post on a Sunday and then have it automatically shoot out various times so you can get even smarter.
And so you see me writing that down, Billie. You see me writing that down. You see me writing that down. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just those are more tools to
Yeah.
work smarter
Easiest
and not
way.
harder.
Easiest
Mhm.
way. Easiest way to do it, man. So yeah, no, it's but yeah, so people can reach me. You can call me. My email address is cblack00@msn.com. Numbers 214-228-7447. Reach me any way you want. Text, call. I typically, honestly, some people just call me with a general question. I'll answer whatever question you have if I can. Right? If I don't, I know where to find the answer if it's not on Google. So I can find the answer. So yes, for sure, reach out, pass my name along to your friends, whoever. That start because a lot of times people don't think about HR stuff when they start a small business and the compliance stuff and the handbook. I always tell people the most important thing you can have is a handbook. Like if you don't have anything, have a handbook because that is your ticket to protect yourself against potential lawsuits, right? So if it's written down and it's a policy or process, you'll protect yourself. So
Mhm.
I'm happy to help people.
Oh, well, Well, Chris has gone away, guys. But I do thank him. Let me see if I can make me in one screen here. Okay, there we go. So I do thank Chris for joining us, and I thank you guys for joining us tonight as well. Those of you that were commenting, Karen and Della, thank you so much. Next week, be back here at the same place, same time. Our host for next week is Miss Carol Crockett. I know it's going to be another great show. Thank you guys. You guys have an amazing evening, and we'll see you next Monday.